All right, guys, back on Southeastern 16 with Max Barr previewing the Alabama Crimson Tide's trip to North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Max, to take on the Tar Heels in the SEC ACC Challenge. We've already previewed the other big game on Wednesday, Auburn and Duke. We've also previewed all the other games as well with the Tuesday slate, and we'll preview more of the Wednesday slate as well on Wednesday morning. But Max, initial thoughts as Alabama heads to North Carolina for a big one there at none other, Max, we know, than the Dean Smith Center.
Yeah, we don't have a line yet, but I'm going to do my investigative work, and Bart Torvik's got UNC as a 1-point favorite. Ken Palm's got him as a 2-point favorite. So could even see it down as a pick 'em, wouldn't surprise me, but nonetheless, this line is going to be razor tight. It's going to be within one possession. And it's tough to kind of pick a spot. You got both teams coming off of losses. North Carolina coming off 2, Alabama coming off just the 1 to Oregon. But Alabama's was on Saturday, North Carolina all the way back last Wednesday, full week ago. So a little bit of a different timeline here. North Carolina's been sitting on this one for almost 7 days now, whereas Alabama just fresh off the loss this weekend, Blake.
Well, we know Alabama, as we record this, we don't know exactly in terms of the injury situation for Latrell Wrightsell. That's a key contributor on this team. We also don't know about the availability potentially of Chris Youngblood, who has not played this season. So these are factors that I think are kind of hard to come up with as you're putting this together for Alabama coming off that loss to Oregon, knowing that, again, Wrightsell is someone who, as expected, plays a lot of minutes, a 3-point sniper in terms of him being able to knock down shots from the perimeter. And Youngblood, we talked about, was going to be one of the maybe most important pieces of the puzzle for Alabama this season, but has not played yet due to injury, coming from South Florida. So that's a little tough. But here's what we do know. We do know that these two teams are going to score some points, Max. I am confident in picking that. We're not doing this from just a betting perspective, but I don't, whatever the over-under is, these two could eclipse that in terms of the number of points that could be scored here. Two of the fastest tempo teams in the country, top 8 nationally, both are. And so, that's really where this game starts for me, Max. Like, this is going to be an up-and-down game. We know what Alabama likes to do. They like to get down the floor, shoot open threes, get to the rim, and, going up against this North Carolina team that is also going to shoot a lot of free throws. This will be a game, I think, that could be a little lengthy based on the fact that both these teams want to try to get to the line. Plays are made in the paint with both of these. And I think really it's going to come down to, these are two experienced teams. Alabama's got the size advantage, but this is going to be racing down the floor with the Tide and the Tar Heels.
I would not be shocked if this totals in the 170s. Because it's going to be high 160s, definitely. I would not be shocked if we see a 1-7 on the total here. Sign me up. Sign me up for the points. As far as Chris Youngblood, Nate Oates said it's possible, but more likely in 2 weeks against Creighton. No, you don't say. Yeah. It's more likely he plays in 2 weeks. Shocker there. I'm going to go out on a limb, say Chris Youngblood's not playing in this game. And if he does, probably not too productive, not too big of a piece. But that's why you have the depth, right? You're going to need a big game out of Philon. You're going to need Holloway to step up, which he has been, and you're going to need Mark Sears to play better than he has been playing, regardless of who the opponent is. Mark Sears has got to step it up. So, yes, if you ask me, do you like Alabama's chances more or less without Wrightsell and Youngblood? There's no question what the answer is, but what I'm trying to say is, like, they do have the depth to support it. It's not like it's, sound the panic alarms. They do have some depth to support that. But that's where North Carolina's free throws come into play. Mm-hmm. If any of those guards get in foul trouble, now it's like, oh, no, there's only 3 of them available right now, and Philon's got 3 fouls in the first half. Sound the alarms then. That could definitely come into play, Blake.
You went exactly where I was going to go, because if you look at the numbers, Alabama 6th nationally in free throw attempts per game, 28.8 free throws per contest. North Carolina is at 13 at 27 free throws per contest. So you can bet that one of these teams is probably going to shoot 30 free throws in this game. Yep. Both good, potentially, based on, again, how we know they like to play. And also, when we bring up the offense, and if you think we're exaggerating about how many points could be scored, these are two teams that do not force turnovers. And so
Yeah.
the other team is going to basically get what they want, and there's probably not going to be a lot of mistakes here. North Carolina's fourth nationally in turnover percentage, only 12.7%. In that category, which is just a tremendous number. But especially too, keep in mind, like North Carolina has not played an easy schedule to this point. They've
No.
played Kansas, Dayton, Auburn, and Michigan State. Of course, Alabama, we know too, has been tested, playing Purdue, Illinois, Houston, and Oregon. In addition to, as we said, a couple of sneaky good games. Well, Rutgers as well. That's a pretty solid
Yeah.
team. Sneaky good games against mid-major teams in McNeese and Arkansas State. So both these teams tested. Both have been sitting here waiting for this game. Now for several days, as you said, North Carolina's had the week off. Alabama coming
Yep.
off the loss to Oregon. Fresh legs, lots of points. And yeah, like this is just one where I think we could dissect the matchup in a lot of different ways, but it feels like, it's kind of the same. Like you said, Sears got to have a big game. We've seen Phylon step up in big games. And if Alabama's down a couple key players, then the depth and not getting in foul trouble, crucial in a game like this, especially on the road.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up those turnover numbers, how both of the defenses don't force turnovers. Because when you look at Alabama's last few games, the turnovers have been concerned, but the offense still has looked and ran kind of smoothly. I mean, just against Oregon, Alabama still assisted on 21 of 27 made field goals. I mean, when they were making shots, it was because the ball was popping, and then they would turn it over. So if you don't have those turnovers, I could definitely see Alabama just firing on all cylinders offensively. The path is there. I will say this. You mentioned North Carolina's battle tested. So they have not had a lead basically in their last 80 minutes of basketball. They didn't lead for a single second against Auburn. And then their largest lead against Michigan State came in overtime for like a possession. They didn't lead the whole game. So they're going on like 80 straight minutes of playing from behind. I mean, these guys are just dying to play with a lead. They played Kansas. Well, they were down by 20 in that game. They played Dayton. They were down by 21. They played Auburn. They were down by 19. They played Michigan State. They were down by 14. I mean, you name the game, North Carolina's found themselves in a double-digit deficit every time they play a good team so far. Can't afford to do that against the Tide here. Are we ready for picks, Blake? Are we ready to jump into picks?
Listen, Max, I'd love to make my pick, but you know what? I'd also love to bet on this basketball game. And you know where I can do that?
BetOnline.
BetOnline, Max. It took you a second, but we got there. BetOnline is where you can bet on the game because it's the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. Hey, if you want that line, if you're watching this, it's not out yet, they'll have it first. Don't worry. Find it there. BetOnline, the largest selection of odds and everything for football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL, the UFC. It's all there. Head to BetOnline today, and don't forget, use that promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. Picks, Max Barr.
Oh boy, this is a big one, and I don't think there's going to be much of a doubt in this one, Blake. I feel confident. I feel confident in this one. I always like to lean in on the injury. Everybody likes to see they got an injury. I'm running in the other direction. Not Max Barr. I see an injury. I run two. Someone's stepping up. Someone is stepping up. If it's
like
Holloway,
a doctor,
if it's Phylon,
like a nurse.
Hey. Listen, I'm talking gambling here. Gambling. We're not talking about bumps and bruises. We're talking about
nurse.
Basketball. Okay. You have it. The only thing you're hearing about this game is Right Cell's down, Youngblood's down, all these guys are down. What happens if Mark Sears puts up 30? What then? Who cares if Right Cell's out, if Mark Sears putting up 30? Give me the Tide on the road.
Well, of course, folks, as we know, a rematch from a highly anticipated game last year in the NCAA tournament, as it was Alabama scoring the win over North Carolina when people thought that Alabama was about to hit the roadblock, right? North
Yep.
Carolina was doing their thing. People thought it was going to be a struggle. Alabama did not have Latrell Wrightsell in that game. What happened? Mark Sears plays 40 minutes, scores 18 points. Grant Nelson goes for 24 and 12 and 5 blocks. Aaron Estrada and Rylan Griffin, no longer on the team, both had big games in that one. So who are going to be the guys that step up in this spot? We've already given you a couple options. LeBaron Philon. Perhaps this is a big Cliff game. Some other guys can step up as well for Alabama. Max, this is one of those games, like I said, it was 89-87 last year. I would expect more of the same here. The difference, I think, and I'm gonna go with this, and I know it's kind of an interesting pick for some people, but I'm kind of with you in that I think that Alabama is. We came into the season talking about Alabama, potentially being the number one team in the country. They've lost a couple games. People are a little bit down on them, I think, in this one. But I still think at their best, they are one of the best teams in the country. Now, could you say North Carolina could be one of the best teams in the country at their best as well? Sure you can. Remember, North Carolina lost by 3 on the road to Kansas. No shame in that. They didn't play well against Auburn. They lost the game in overtime to Michigan State. And now they're back home. It's a tough challenge for Alabama on the road. But I'm going to pick the Tide in this one. I just think that this, again, could be a Grant Nelson, Mark Sears combination type game. And I just feel like still at their best, which we have not seen in every single game this season, Alabama they're capable of winning a game like this. So I'm going to predict them to do it. I'm not confident in that pick because I do think North Carolina will be favored just because it is in Chapel Hill. The free throw thing and the foul trouble, Max, is what could concern me a little bit here. And that was the biggest thing from making this like a full-on confident pick, which I don't know how it could be in a game that's probably going to be decided by a couple points. But I'll still take a chance and roll with the Tide here.
I don't know why I'm so confident in this. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
Feel it. Got to go with your gut. Got to go with your gut.
I'm not as confident as you.
Just every time I would doubt Alabama last year, every time I'd find them in a spot to doubt them, they would just go 15 of 30 from 3. And I'm like, why would I ever pick against this team? Something deep down is telling me this team's about to go off. Might be wrong, and you can come back and tell me how I'm such an idiot after.
It's scary because Alabama has not had that kind of game yet in terms of them just going off from 3.
Exactly.
The defensive profile for North Carolina could give them an opportunity to do that, but it is a true road game. I am nowhere near as confident as you. I was actually thinking about setting up my pick to pick North Carolina. I changed it and said, I'm going to go Alabama. So that shows you the confidence level I have.
There you go.
Both good teams. I don't think North Carolina's as bad as their 4-3 record. So anyone out there says, well, they're 4-3. Look at who they played. It's a dang good team. And so is Alabama. Should be a great game. Watch it for the entertainment value. Don't watch it for our predictions. They mean nothing. But if you want more of the stuff that means nothing here at Southeastern 16, you can find everything we got right here on the channel with all of our previews for the ACC, SEC Challenge, SEC, ACC Challenge, whichever way they're doing it this year. Check it all out there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button, folks, on the way out. We appreciate you watching. Got some fun stuff coming for our members as well. Join the It Just Means More tier, Southeastern 16, for a lot of fun stuff. But
we'll be live to react. We'll be live.
Oh, yeah.
UNC fans, come let us know.
Yes, North Carolina fans, hop on in. Tell us we're wrong.
Hop on.
It's all a party here at Southeastern 16. So, all right, appreciate you guys watching as always. We'll talk to you again here soon at Southeastern 16.